All right, everyone. Well, here we are, Friday morning. We've made it to the end of the week, and I'm locking up a green day. I hit the daily goal. I'm walking away. I am not going to overstay my welcome. And what I'll say about today's trading is that it was much more methodical compared to yesterday. I was calm, cool, collected. I didn't make any crazy big mistakes. I didn't take huge share size. I just kept everything dialed in. And you know what? I traded 4 different stocks. I'm green on all 4, and I'm up $5,409.92. That's the P&L right there, top corner. Biggest winner on Vsse. This is the stock that was up 200%. And mostly it was after hours, which is interesting. So this is the stock that I made the most money on. So we're going to go ahead and dive in right here to the recap. So Vsse, this is the one that I traded yesterday after hours. So those of you who recall watching my 2 recaps from yesterday will know that I had a roller coaster of a day. I went red yesterday, back to green, then back to red, and actually went down almost $7,500 before recovering and finishing up $2,000 on the day. Nearly a $10,000 swing from low to high on the first day of August. That's not how I like to start a new month, but one of the things that I mentioned is that when the first day of a new month is on a Thursday or a Friday, often that is tricky for me because Thursdays and Fridays are usually a little slower than Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And the reason is that usually companies put out good news at the beginning of the week, excited that market participants will see the news and then trade the stock for the next few days. And it's more common that bad news comes out on Thursday and Friday, hoping that investors forget about it by Monday. So I wasn't really surprised that Thursday was tricky, but I didn't handle it well. I was too aggressive at the wrong times. I got stubborn, and I ended up digging myself a pretty big hole, which I'm fortunate that we had the opportunity for me to recover from that, because that's not always the case. But it ended up that Vsse after hours had news that came out right at 4:30 p.m. and the stock squeezes from 2 up to 3, up to 350, up to 4, micro pullback up to 5, up to 550, up to 650, micro pullback up to 7, pullback up to 754, dipping back down, taps here, and then kind of rolls over a little bit. So we ended up closing after hours pretty strong. We were up like 180% or 160%. Pre-market, we pop up at 4 a.m. and kind of immediately they're selling, which just initially kind of surprised me because I sort of thought there'd be more buying into this because it was such a big gapper. Coming closer to the open, it's 6 a.m. We're kind of down here at $5. And so my routine is that usually one of the first things I do when I wake up is I pull up my phone, I log into the Warrior Trading dashboard, and I pull up my scanners. So I'll pull those scans up for you right here. So I pull up the scans on my phone and I see, all right, well, what's gapping right now? What are the top gappers? And then I check the chart. So I switch to the chart and I'm like, okay, what have we got going on this stock? And I saw, for instance, Mkdw was one of the top gappers. So I saw that. I pull up the chart, but I wasn't so impressed with the chart. Mkdw had squeezed pre-market from 250 all the way up to 750, but by 6:30 in the morning, it was back below VWAP, and it wasn't looking so great. So I did get a trade on that, which we'll talk about in a minute. But so this one, I was like, no, that's not going to work. And Vsse, I knew that yesterday it hit that high of 750. So when I looked at my scan and saw it was at around $6, I was like, okay, not bad, but it's holding up, but let's look at that pre-market chart. And what I was wondering is if it spiked to like $8 or $9 and then was pulling back, or if it was just still sort of forming a flag pattern, which more or less it was. So I came over to my office pretty quickly, and I actually took my first trade right in this area here. As we started to pull away, we got a little micro pullback here, and I got in with 5,000 shares at 643, 644. We got a squeeze up to 650, 660, and I took my profit. Now, one of the things that I said yesterday was that I had a goal that I was going to trade with a max of 5,000 shares until I crossed over $1,000 in profit. I said, once I'm up over $1,000, I'll take bigger size. So 5,000 shares in at 643-ish, out at 654, base hit, plus $500, plus or minus, right around there. So $500 on the first trade. I was like, that's good. Don't want to overstay my welcome. Take it slow, get green, get out, live to trade another day. So that was the first trade. Now it ends up pulling back a little bit, and so I'll put the chart back up. It dips back down, and then coming right into 7 a.m., we got this really nice squeeze. So I added back on this as 7 a.m., so at 7 a.m., a lot of retail brokers come online. So Robinhood, E-Trade, Ameritrade. So 7 a.m., boom, there's a ton of volume. So I got back in as we squeeze back up here, and let's see. So I added on this at, well, I actually had a dip, but anyways, there were a couple other trades in this little area. I had a winner and a loser in that area. But then at 7 a.m., I'm adding at 645, 2,000 shares, add another 2,000 at 650, and I add another 2,000 at 658. So now I'm starting to scale in 6,000 shares, starting to be a little bit more aggressive, and I'm up over $1,000. I'm up 1,500, 2,000. It hits this high of 725. So boom, that right there got me up $2,200 on the day. And I was like, sweet, nice, good start, very good. Can't complain about that. Got a little false breakout here, which I didn't end up trading. The reason I didn't trade it was I just was sort of like, topping tail. It feels like, and there was a bit of selling in this area too. So I was like, I don't know, is this going to work? And then it pops up in nasty rejection. So I was like, you know what? Let's just leave it alone. So let's just be patient, wait for a really good setup to form. And we didn't get another good setup. That was it, right? That was all we got. And then at the open, it sold off. So, it is what it is. Got some profit on this front side of the move and was grateful for that. So that was Vsse. Now, our second leading gapper at the time was Mkdw. Mkdw, this one had this big move pre-market. But again, I'm a little jealous for those of you guys. I'm jealous of those of you guys who were able to catch this move, because this was pretty nice, from $2.50 up to $7. But that was at 5, 6 a.m., whatever. I missed that. So it's selling off, no interest. And then right here, it starts to curl up. And as it comes up to volume weight average price, I was like, okay, this is interesting. It dips down right here. So it kind of dips down. It pops back up. It dips down. And I bought this pullback right here. And I bought 10,000 shares, which was a little bit of a big position, but I was like, it's above VWAP. This thing, it looks good. It pops up to 5. I ended up capturing about 17 cents per share of profit. That's $1,700, $1,800. And I was like, you know what? Hey, that's good. That's solid. It failed to break over 5, and there was a seller there. So because there was that seller on the level 2, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get out at like 493 or 495 or whatever it was. So got out of that. It ends up selling off higher volume below VWAP. And I was like, well, that's that. So no other trades on this one. So now there's like a little bit of a theme today where, we're getting some opportunities, but nothing's really sticking, and probably not a good time to be too aggressive on anything. So then let's see, the next trade that I took was on Tbio. So Tbio hits the scanners, and on this one, I was like, I'm not sure, guys. If we look at the chart, this thing came up to 6 a couple days ago, and then it rejected, right? It was right up here about 6. So I'm like, tapped it here, tried again here. So as it came up right here, I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm not feeling super confident on it. But it broke 6. It starts to pull away. And so I was like, all right, you know what? Let's look for a micro pullback. So we'll pull up the 10-second chart here. We'll back this up. So right here, it breaks through. And let me find my trade on Tbio. So yeah, let's see. So right here, it breaks through 6. It goes up to 620. It hits a high of 640, red candle, and I bought that dip candle right there. So I bought that red candle. It then rips back up right here, and it goes through 640, 645, 650, 660, 670, up to 675. And I got in with small size. I got back out. I got back in. So I was in at 38. I got out at 51. I add back at 55. I got out at 65. Got back in at 44. Got out at 41 for a small loss. Got back in at 26. Got out at 13. So I ended up making 900 on it, then giving back a little bit. And I was like, you know what? This thing is moving in the wrong direction. it's not holding up super well. So, okay, I'll just leave it at that. And at that point, I had crossed over $5,000 of profit on the day when I was up about 1,000 on it. But since I gave back 400, I dipped back to just below 5,000 on the day. Not that it really matters, but that's where I was sitting. So I was like, all right, that's that. Is there going to be anything else? And I didn't see anything going into the open. So for a gap and go trade going into the open, what I would have needed to see was that one of our leading gainers was holding up, and it was like near the top of its range and looked like it wanted to squeeze higher. Vsse going into the open, this was not set up for a gap and go trade. It was kind of holding VWAP, but sort of not very well, and then it rolled over into the open. So that I was like, nope, definitely not trading that. It was Mkdw. This one going into the open, it was sort of holding here, but it was below VWAP. And I said, that's too risky. Not going to trade that. Tbio going into the open. This thing was below VWAP right here. Although it did pop back up, I didn't trust it either. So another one that I was like, nope, that one's off the list. XCUR, this one is a lower price stock. Some traders were looking at it, but I was like, it's too cheap for me. I'm going to leave it alone. So that was not on the list. AKAN, this one was gapping up, but sold off pre-market just before the open. So that was not on the list. So basically, I had nothing I was watching at 9:30 for a gap and go trade at the opening bell. So I'm just sitting here holding my hands. I'm thinking, all right, I don't know if I'm going to get any more trades. So I don't end up taking any trades for like half an hour. But then at about 9:33, Drma starts hitting the scanners. So this one I've traded in the past. The float is super low, but it's been kind of tricky. So when it first starts to pop up, I'm like, should I go for it? I don't know. So it squeezes up right here. It pops up to 305, and it basically like dips for a second. And on this red candle, I got in at 305, and I said, I'm going to set my stop at $3. So I'm in at 305, stop is 3. It goes up here to 318. I take some profit at 315 for 10 cents a share on 5,000 shares. So I make about $500 on that trade. It dips down here. I was like, ooh, that's not great. And then it pops back up here and goes to 30. And I missed that trade because this dip was like a little bigger than I thought. Drops back down, comes back up, drops back down, comes back up, and there's a seller up here at about 30. So when that seller broke, I got back in right here for a quick scalp, in at about 35, out at about 40, 5 cents of profit on 5,000 shares, and I think it was 5,000, so maybe 7,500. Anyways, got myself to up 786 on it. And then I was just like, you know what? If it can't hold this level, I don't, and it broke down. So that was it. I was like, I'm done. It ended up coming back up, but I didn't go back in for it. I just felt like it was not worth it. So as it consolidated right here, there was part of me that was like, this is a flat top breakout and you've got ascending support. But I was like, the stock has shown these topping tails and it's choppy. Is it worth it? And I looked at my P&L and I thought, yesterday was a pretty terrible day for me. Going down as res I did and then recovering was great, but it's not a clean day. Right now, if I walk away right now, I'm walking away at my high of day, $5,400. It's a solid day. It's actually more than I expected for today. In my recap from yesterday, I said, realistically for today, I'm going to start with 5,000 share positions. I'm going to try to make $500 to $1,000 in those first few trades. If I can get myself up 1,500, 1,700, that's going to be fine. I might not get more than that, especially if we don't have good news because it's a Friday and it's the beginning of August. It's just a time of year that usually volume is a little lighter. Of course, having said that, July just was my best month of the whole year, which is kind of unusual because it's the middle of summer. But in any case, I set expectations low for today, and maybe that was a good thing because I traded a little bit more conservatively. Once I was in the green, I was like, okay, this is decent. I can work with this. And, then I said, let's not overstay our welcome. So I missed this trade, but also saved me from getting caught in this trap right here where it flushed back down. So I think maybe you could say I left a little money on the table, but I'm walking away with $5,000 of profit in my pocket that I didn't have 4 hours ago. So I would say this is a great day. And, now combined 2,000 yesterday, 5,000 today, granted I'll have fees and commissions, but this kind of starts to build a little bit of a cushion for the month of August, right? So, August, we all start at 0. And I did myself a little favor by going down minus 7,500 and then recouping to up, 2,000. And then, then that was last night. And then today, kind of popped up, dipped down, and then got myself up another 2,000 and then up to, this level. So now I'm up at about 7,000 on the month, which is a pretty big swing from the low of yesterday to the high of day. And the emotions experience an equal swing. Right down here, I'm like, oh God, I'm sad. I'm kind of disappointed. And not because I'm just red. Being red is okay. I'm disappointed because I failed to maintain discipline and I broke the rules that I set for myself. That's disappointing for me. And now today here, having a day where I follow the process, I'm methodical, calm, cool, collected, I'm feeling good. All right, so this is a great way to finish the week right here. Certainly it's possible that we'll have some stocks that end up continuing higher. You get a nice afternoon squeeze. And if that's the case, I hope you guys do really well on it, but I'm going to miss it and I'm going to go outside and get some fresh air and enjoy summer here in New England. So that's where I'm at here for today. What you guys can expect for the next couple days. I will have an upload for you tomorrow that I think you're really going to enjoy. That's going to be Saturday. On Sunday, I will upload my game plan for the week ahead. And then all next week, regular routine, trading in the morning, sitting down, 6:45, 7 a.m. to watch the stocks that are gapping up. We'll trade until it slows down and just try to get in, get green, get those base hits, not overstay my welcome, and build a little bit more cushion here for the first full week of August. And, realistically at this point, while there may be some opportunities later today, or it's possible there could be news at 4 p.m. after hours or 4:30, volume is going to decline as the day goes on because it's Friday. So at this point, I would say my next best opportunity for a really nice winning trade is going to be Monday morning. So my window for today is closed and the window will reopen Monday starting around 7 a.m. and that'll run until about 11 a.m. So that's the game plan. Again, I hope you guys are subscribed to the channel. That way you'll get the notification when those new uploads go live. So make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get notified when I upload a new video. And I'll remind you, as always, that trading is risky. My results aren't typical. So manage your risk, take it slow. And I hope you do tune in to the episodes this weekend because I think you'll really enjoy them. So thanks again. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you guys back here on Monday morning.